but it's okay. Fuck it. It's life. Oops, I already swore. Bam, we're live.
Sweet.
1 minute early.
Yeah, I'm in Round Rock, or pretty much Austin, Texas, for the Rogue Invitational right now.
Oh, cool. Why are you there? Why are you going there? Why are you doing that?
So I'm helping coach. So Facundo, I'm pretty sure you had him on recently. He's
Good
the
dude. Good dude.
coach for Mayhem Freedom. Well, he technically is kind of the coach of who is it? Lazar, Saxon Panchik, and Guillermo from Brazil. So I'm kind of
Yeah.
helping facilitate, helping coach, really just helping like make sure everyone's taken care of on time and stuff. Kind of their hype man, making sure they're, got the supplements and the food they need and stuff like that.
I was gonna say it's like when I tell someone I'm producing a movie, but really I'm just a super high paid water boy. I just make sure everyone has what they need.
Exactly, a water boy.
Hey, how cool is Lazar Jukic? I had him on the podcast once, and like, it's not often that I wish that my guests were then my neighbors. Like I always like, I'm like, fuck, if that dude lived next door to me, we would tear shit up.
He's actually really cool. I feel like, I don't know. So the last week before the Rogue Invitational, my house has been like an athlete dorm. So it's been Guy and Lazar were staying with me, and I feel like him being in that kind of atmosphere kind of makes more of his personality and energy come out of him. So he's been super hype. He's been cracking me up when he tells me every time. I'm like, all right, you guys ready to go? He's like, my favorite saying in America is, let's roll.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I prefer let's roll over let's go. I'm so tired of hearing people say let's go.
Yeah, he's yelling that when we're headed to training. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
Boys get pretty hyped.
Let's roll so much more gangster. Hey, how are you with all these dudes in your house? And like, are there just like bags of like creatine left open and like dirty spoons on the counter and like shoes and shit around? And because like I would be fucking, my OCD would just kick on. I'd be freaking out.
Yeah. Lazar is actually really organized. Guy, on the other hand, we're working on him.
Yeah.
He's got like open containers in the fridge, just leaving like spoons with peanut butter just sitting in the sink, but it's all good. I mean, we hold each other accountable and we'll clean the stuff up together. So, I mean, it's not that big of a deal. It's just like the dorm life in college, honestly.
Guy's a work in progress.
He's definitely a work in progress when it comes to sanitation in the kitchen. That's for sure.
So obviously I've been in the CrossFit scene for a while, and I follow Rich on Instagram and Haley and those people over there.
Okay.
At the gym. And so then all of a sudden I started seeing you around, and I had heard about you, but I hadn't made the connection until very recently. I was interviewing, or I was watching a video or something of Brooke Wells, and do you know who that is?
Yeah, I know Brooke in Sydney.
Are you friends with Brooke?
Like through the CrossFit community, absolutely. I mean, I've in the last few years had the chance to connect with her a little bit, and she was a Bachelor fan. So when I first went to my first games in 2019, I got to connect with a lot of people in the community. So I know quite a few people now.
Okay, so it was that. So either I saw in an interview or I was interviewing her or something, but I just remember standing next. I think I was standing next to her, and I remember her talking to another girl or boy and be like, "Yeah, the guy from The Bachelor texted me. He's here," or something. But she said your name, and then I had to figure out what it was. And then that was all I had heard of you. And then I started seeing pictures of you just like at Mayhem, and it looked like it wasn't just a one-off. Like I just kept seeing you like in the background or like with your arm around Rich. So I'm like, oh, this guy works out there. And then someone
you're like, who's this guy?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, who's this guy with my friends, my fake Instagram friends? I didn't say he could come over and play. And it is kind of like that, right? It's like you're like when you watch the Mayhem thing, it's kind of like my dollhouse, right? Okay, good. Right. There's Rich showed up today, and there's the Buffalo, and so then someone said, hey, you should have the guy. Someone a couple weeks ago said, hey, you should have this guy on. Mm-hmm. He was in The Bachelor. So I had obviously heard of the show. Were you on The Bachelor or The Bachelorette?
Technically, it's The Bachelorette.
Bachelorette. So when there's only okay, and are they two separate shows, or is it the same show that just alternates every year?
Yes, two separate shows. And so ABC hosts The Bachelor, and then after a few years of the show, it's been going on for 20 years. They're like, oh, let's make The Bachelorette. You know, have both sexes in the same situation. So The Bachelor, there's one guy, and then there's like a huge group of girls, and then he cuts it down to one at the end. And
Yeah.
then The Bachelorette's just reversed. There's one girl and about 30 guys to start, and then she narrows it down to one.
Okay. And then I learned recently that basically one of the people who doesn't win ends up becoming the star of the opposite show. So if you're the
Yes.
dude who doesn't get one of the dudes who doesn't get picked, you'll be the dude who's like being courted by all the chicks. And then if you're the chick that doesn't get picked, you're the one you become, or at least one of them becomes one that's courted by all the dudes. Okay.
Yep, that's correct.
And you had never been. You were just on one of the shows. You were just on the show season 15 that I watched of the dudes who
so
are
you did
courting
watch
the
it.
chick. Say that again?
So you did watch some of it.
Oh, dude. Oh, dude.
Oh man, I'm sorry for you, bro.
Hey,
that's rough. That's rough
to
sit through that.
Well, I'm going to be completely honest. So I did it over 3 days.
Wow.
I have a lot of people coming in and out of my house, and they were tripping that I was watching it. And anyone who walked by, it's really like crack.
It is addicting, isn't it? You're like,
it's horrible.
Yeah, it is.
It's really bad. It's very dishonest. I think that I would rather have spent a little time watching Pornhub, because Pornhub is honest. And you may not agree with the morals or the integrity or the ethics of it, but this show has no morals, no integrity, and no honesty. And one of my biggest things about I really struggle. Yeah. But basically, so I watched it, and and it's incredible because like you said, 20 seasons. So that means it must be kicking ass. That means the show's huge, right?
Absolutely. I mean, you know how it is. People just like to veg. Like, instead of watching Netflix, just watch some reality TV and watch a whole bunch of drama. So they got to create that drama. You know, that's how they pump up the ratings. It's like any reality TV show.
Do you train at Mayhem because you're like good like them, or do they just like, oh, this guy was on a reality show, so he gets to be here?
That is a great question. Yeah.
Because those guys aren't screwing around. I mean, when you have Guy say that he went there and Haley Adams fucked him up the first week, you know, like, oh shit, like wow, he's just on. I mean, he's world class, and the 20-year-old girl there he's admitting she mopped him up. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah, no, mopped him up for sure. I mean, she's been doing that to me since I've been there. I'm getting tougher, but to answer that question, I'd say I have aspirations to be as good as them. So that's my goals, right? Like, I want to be a champion. Like anyone who does anything, right? You want to be the best you, right? So that's my goal in CrossFit, to be the fittest me I can absolutely be. Hopefully get on top of the podium and be the world's fittest man one day. But
wow, so that is the goal. That is the goal, Luke?
Yes, sir, absolutely. But I want to give you a quick elevator pitch story of how I met everybody, because this is actually pretty funny. So this goes back to 2019 CrossFit Games, when I'm spectating for the very first time. So 2019 was technically my first year of CrossFit, where they had 2 opens in one season on the same calendar year. So 2020 Open was at the end of 2019. So that was my first open.
Unfortunately, I remember that.
So my first open, actually, during 19.3, I couldn't do the workout. The day of, I had to fly to LA to film for The Bachelorette, which is pretty interesting. So my overall world score in that was I don't even know. It's in the millions or something. And anyway, I go spectate at 2019 games. I posted I'm going to be there, and I see someone tag Hillary Froning on my picture, and I'm like, wait, what? Hold up. So I reach out. I'm at the games with my older brother. He's there connecting with me, and I DM Hillary Froning, and I'm like, hey, look, I've read your husband's book. Huge fan of you guys. Love how you guys use your platforms for your faith. Love your adoption story, Hillary. Obviously, I mean, who isn't a huge fan of your husband who's in the sport, of just how good he is in the sport and how he holds his, how he holds himself. And I was like, I don't know if you know who I am, but I'd like to meet you guys. And she DMs me. She's like, oh my gosh, like I watch Monday nights every night with my girls. Like, I'd love to meet you. Like, come over and come meet us. So I got to meet Rich and Hillary. And it's funny. I mean, Rich would say the same thing. At first he was like, oh, this is just some punk from reality TV that my wife's a fan of. And then, speed up the process. Like, got to meet everyone from Mayhem there briefly. And then on the way home from that same games, I was sitting across on the same flight. It was his layover. I was heading back home to Atlanta, Georgia, and Brian Nelson, who's the CFO of Mayhem, who's now my best friend. He's got 2 different house locations, one in Alabama and one in Cookeville, and he's actually my roommate. So he's the one that owns the house. I live with him, and we have an extra guest room, so it's like a revolving door with elite athletes who come visit. That's why we had Guy and Lazar in. Anyway, so got to connect with Brian. And then just to keep it short and sweet, like, I got to really connect with, that was like when Mayhem Mission was kind of being thought up of, hadn't existed yet. And then Rich and Brian put their heads together, created the nonprofit Mayhem Mission. And I got to help with some of the nonprofit. I think the first one was called Outside the Box. I don't know if you're familiar with Legends of the Falls this year.
That's the one you went to Peru?
I don't know. This is the What's up, guys? What's up?
I have questions for you, Luke, but these guys are knocking at the door. Let's let these guys say hi.
Yeah.
We have Lazar, Jukic, Guy, and Facundo.
What's up, boys?
Can you guys hear us? They can't hear us.
We want to say hello.
Can you hear us?
Can you guys hear us?
How
Doesn't
come
seem like they can hear us.
Lazar, can you hear it?
Oh, they can hear us.
Hey, it's 3 guys with English as their second language. This show's just taking a fucking dump.
I'm watching actually from Guy's phone also, so we can hear it.
Guys, the connection's so bad, I have to kick you guys to the curb.
Yeah, we gotta kick
You're
y'all.
late.
Go to athlete briefing.
Stop your phone.
Bam. Bye-bye.
That was interesting.
We had to remove them.
Anyway,
they texted me this morning.
that.
They said we want to come on the show with Luke, so I sent him a link.
Oh, that's hilarious. So I'll wrap that story up real quick.
Wait. I want to ask you a question. Go back a little bit. I don't want you to wrap it up. So where did you meet her? You said that you text her, and then she said she'd like to meet. Where did you meet her?
Yeah, I DM'd her. So it was at the RV. I guess you call it the trailer park, RV park.
At the games.
The mobile homes. Yeah. Where it's set up at the games. That's kind of where Mayhem sets up every year. And yeah, I came, met a ton of people behind the scenes, got to meet Rich, a couple of his buddies. Like Josh Bridges was there hanging out, a couple other people at the time. And then I'm trying to think.
Are you comfortable with that? Are you comfortable with people knowing you before they know you? I mean, that's your life now, right?
They don't really know me though. They know my face, right?
Right, of course.
So I think that's the one cool thing about meeting someone, especially in my position, my unique reality TV position, is like they actually get to meet the real me, the authentic me, and not some, edited version of me or this like Luke P character from ABC. You know what I mean? So I enjoy that because that's what's real to me. So.
It's kind of a double-edged sword because, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm open to being wrong. They get to meet you, or you get to meet them. It opens doors because of your success on the show, but also you're kind of in a hole because you have to reprogram what they think they know about you. So, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd say, yeah, pretty much.
Although with any, I think by the end, if someone does make it to the end, I wonder how many people start that show and actually make it to the end. I wonder if it's like the majority of them. Because if you make it to the end, they kind of fuck up and they kind of expose the whole thing. It's bizarre to me that you say that you want to lead a woman and people are upset at you for that. And then the other guy at the end who won says he wants to take care of a woman and he's rewarded for that. The audience members, man, I'm all over the place here. Sorry, but I got to do it. The audience members, when you sit in that room, those women who are in that room are I don't know where they find those women, but man, it's so bad. It's so mean. The show is so fucking mean. I watched a bunch of interviews. I don't have a problem really with anyone who is on the show, but the people who watch that show, I really, you have to stop. It's really bad for you. It's basically an emotional version of CrossFit. You know, CrossFit's this high intensity programming. We go out there and then we adapt to it and become better. This is just like really pushing people's emotions to a place that's like,
it really is.
I don't think you come out of there necessarily stronger. I think you might come out of there jaded. I want to propose this idea to you, and then we'll go back.
Okay.
Let's say you meet a girl and you're gonna marry her. There's stuff you have to tell her, right? Like hey, I have a colostomy bag. I can't use the bathroom. Like she'd have to know that, right?
For sure.
My parents are deaf. Probably like should tell her that.
Yeah, all your personal stuff.
Yeah, and then there's some stuff like your overhead squats more than your back squat. She doesn't need to know that. She's gonna see that and she's gonna think it's weird, but whatever, it's funny. The fact that you sucker punched a guy in the 8th grade, she doesn't need to know that. That'll come out when you tell her. There's all these things, right? And there's things like on one side of the fence that you should tell her, and what, like you were married once before, you should probably tell her that. Things like that. And sure. I'm watching this show, and then you talk a lot about being free. And you want to be free. Everyone wants to be free. Most people will never taste it until the second they die, I think. But this girl who was on the show, Hannah, do they ever say her last name?
Yeah, Hannah Brown.
Hannah Brown. I don't think she can ever be. If I married her, and then in hindsight, I stumbled across this show and watched it, I would be like, yo, bitch, what's up? Why didn't you tell me about that? And when I think about that any person she wants to move forward with, she basically has to say, you should probably see this show. It breaks my fucking heart.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that.
That she has to drag this sandbag around with her for the rest of her life. I don't think you have to do that. I don't think, but.
Well, I mean, I do, but on a different level for sure.
Yeah, but I think if I married you, I wouldn't, and you didn't tell me that, like if in 10 years I met you and we got married and you're like, and then afterwards, like, dude, I was on the show, like I would watch it and I would be like, holy shit, dude, you should have never gone on there at 24. What the fuck? But good job. Man, you used to be hot. What happened to you? Like, you know, but she, like, I don't think she can do that. And I just trip on that. Like, I don't think, like, she made some real baggage for herself. I think. I mean, what do you think? Like, if you married her, let's say you're John L instead of Luke P, and you met her, would you want her to tell you that she was on that show before you married her, and like go back and watch it?
I mean, that's a tough question for someone like me, because I'm like, I mean, if I met her and she's what I was looking for in that moment in the future, and she did all that, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, all right, well, that's the past. The past is the past. Let's just flush that down the toilet and move on. So,
right. But you still would have wanted to know.
For sure. That's one of those things, like, right? If you meet someone, like, you're going to talk about things you've experienced in the past. What was your childhood upbringing like? What was your college life like? What kind of experiences did you have in those? And then, right, like, go down the list. Let's talk about insecurities. Let's talk about things we struggle with in life. Let's talk about when you used to be.
Let's talk about when you used to be a Pornhub star.
That would definitely need to come up in conversation.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I mean. Someone says she's crying all the way to the bank. Does that show make people money?
So if you're the Bachelor, Bachelorette, you make 6 figures. You make anywhere from like 200,000 or more, depending on like
which is slightly above the poverty line in California with a family of 4, just slightly above.
Slightly above, yeah. Those California's crazy. Anyway, but yeah, if you're in the other pot of guys or girls, like the group, you don't make anything, but you do get a platform. If you make it farther in the show, you're more likely to have a bigger social media following. Like most of the guys or girls that make it to the very end get like 1 million followers, which, I mean, if you are passionate about something and leverage your following, like you could make 6 figures in a few years of working on sponsorships and, relationships through a platform like that easily. So, I mean, I guess you make some kind of currency through social media if you want to be like technical.
Does she have a social media account? I couldn't even find it.
Yes, I'm pretty sure she has a couple million followers.
Because the tags, it kind of sucks because when I was searching through your Instagram, you have her tagged in a couple places, and then when I click on hers, her link is broken. And then when you're on a desktop and you go to a broken link, then I have to start all the way back over at the top of your Instagram again. And I did that twice like a jackass. I fell for that twice.
There you go.
Damn it.
Yeah, I tried tagging you on an Instagram story this morning, and it wasn't letting me.
No,
do you know why?
Yeah. I know why. I'm against racism. I'm against sexism. I'm against homophobia. I'm against forcing people to take drugs that they don't want to take, and I'm very vocal about it. I'm half Jewish, half Armenian, so when I see these people around as something called anti-racist, when I know that's what's keeping racism alive, I have no tolerance or patience for that, and I can be vicious.
I'm with that. I was trying to be
vicious.
funny because I tried tagging you this morning, and I tried tagging you this morning, and it said you can't tag this account; they're restricted because of something they said about COVID-19, and I was like, okay, I may or may not bring that up in the podcast.
No, you totally can't. No, and I don't think a single healthy person has died. I want to see I want someone to show me someone who doesn't eat added sugar and refined carbohydrates who's passed away. Oh, Facundo came back for a second. And they don't want to. No one wants to talk about that. I mean, actually, a lot of people do want to talk about that, but for some reason, the media doesn't want to touch it.
Right, for sure.
It's weird to me.
Yeah, we like
imagine someone's drowning and all you have to do is be like, hey, swim over there, or put your feet down and you'll be fine. And no one says it. Can you imagine drowning in like 3 feet of water because no one told you to put your feet down?
Right. That would be wild.
How close are you to being a games athlete?
I'd say very close. Like this year, I think personally, after another, let's say 4 to 6 months of training with the crew at Mayhem and in the barn with Rich, I'd say I think I'll be ready. So I'll go ahead and just make this announcement now. I've decided to do team this year. And then after this next season, I'm going to be focusing on being an individual because I want to go get experience in Madison. And there's a whole nother list of reasons why, but I'll just keep it at that for now, just for sake of time. So I have a few things I'm working on, and obviously, like, to get to that level, you gotta be super fit. So I'm trying to get super fit.
A few things you're working on, like within like your athletic prowess, or you mean like you're working on like a new car with Elon Musk at Tesla? Like distractions, or like something within your technical ability? Just
like exposure to like technical ability, just like high volume gymnastics, for example, because I'm an ex-college baseball player and played football and baseball in high school, and just all through baseball, like my coaches never let me lift anything heavy over my head. So I always squatted and did like agilities and different kind of like sport specific training. So like anything gymnastic wise, like, I wish I was like some of these guys like Alex Smith with a gymnastic background, right? So I could just naturally get in there and just smoke some of that stuff, but I'm still, need some more time. Just that's one example of a few.
What's the team you're going to be on?
Mayhem Independence.
And do you know who else? Do you know who else is on the team?
It would be nice to be on Mayhem Freedom, but that's not in the cards for this next season.
That's the one that has Andrea Nisler,
yes.
I feel so bad for saying this. Rich's cousin, what's his name?
Chase Hill. It's Hillary's.
Chase. That's right. I knew that. It's Hillary's cousin.
No, you're good, bro. Yeah.
Well, I'm good to you, but Chase is like, oh, that sucks. I know it. Everyone just sees me as Rich's cousin. No one knows my name. Sorry, Chase. And then what was the other lady's name? Andrea Nisler, and who's the other one?
Andrea and her friend Taylor Williamson.
Taylor.
Yeah, both phenomenal athletes.
So they'll come back together, and the four of them, and tear shit up again.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily that they have their minds made up on their team, and same with me. So I'm not gonna just shout out some names. So I don't know. We're still trying to finalize who's going to be on it, but I think we have a pretty good idea.
And is that emotional, kind of like The Bachelor too? Like who, like there's 3 girls who want to be on the team. There's 4 dudes who want to be on the team. It's like, yo, everyone's not going.
Yeah, actually, it is kind of emotional, especially when like you don't want to lead some people on, right? It's kind of like The Bachelor.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking to a girl over here, and then maybe talking to a girl in this room over here. It's like, hey, you know, no, I'm just playing. I'm being funny, but seriously, it is.
Oh, I think you're being accurate.
Yeah, I was being funny, but I mean, you're right. Like, I mean, you don't want to break hearts, get too many feelings involved. Like, you just want to obviously do what's right and what's best for the team, and then who's a good fit. So,
you live in Cookeville?
I do. I have for a year now.
So tell me how that happens.
So I get off the show, was like 5 months or so in the CrossFit.
What year was that when you get off the show? Is that 2019?
Yeah. Yes. 2019.
Okay.
And then
does that seem like a long time ago to you?
Sometimes, and it also feels like yesterday.
Okay.
And then I get off that show, and pretty interesting. So like I had a pretty steep learning curve when I started CrossFit, because when I started, I was a local box, excuse me, in North Georgia. In my first few months, like any other guy who starts CrossFit, I'm like, I'm going to the games. I'm going this year. Like, I'm beating some soccer moms in the class. I'm like, I got this. Let's go. And then my coach is like, hey man, like some people train their whole entire life and never make it to the games. Like, this is what it's going to take. And there's actually a gym down the road called Train Think Tank. And if you want to go, like, go check it out. So a few months later, I ended up at Train Think Tank, or excuse me, a few weeks later, and joined, got a coach, started training with Travis Mayer and some of his buddies that were in and out of that revolving door, like Chandler Smith, Noah Olson. So I got exposed to some high level athletes. Like one of my first workouts I did there, actually, I looked to my right, didn't even know who they were. I'm like, who's this jacked, shredded dude? It's Noah Olson. And then Lucas Parker, who's Canadian, was there. He was still competing at the time. And like Travis. And I'm like in the same heat as them. I don't really know who they are as athletes yet. And because I was, like a rookie, and just giving you a quick background. So trained there for a few years.
Any story with Travis you can milk. I love Travis. I'm a huge Travis.
Yeah, I love Travis too. He's a good dude. So yeah, trained with them for a few years, and then that's when I spectated the games to go support Travis and Noah and all them. And then that's when I met Brian Nelson, Rich Froning, and Hillary and all them. So got to connect with the Mayhem family there. And then that's when they invited me like months after. Actually, it was a year after, because that was in 2019. And then finally got to visit. And then I think I got to know Rich a lot better. So I went from being this, here's this reality TV guy that my wife likes, to, like, this dude's a good dude. Like he's a cool guy. Let's see what he's made of in the, in the weight room, or like in the box, if you will. And got to train with him a few times, and then meet some of the behind the scenes Mayhem people that absolutely crush it. Like the Rory McKernans, the Jake Lockerts, and everyone else who works behind the scenes there. And they said, hey, like, we think you'd be a good fit. Like, if you want to come, like, we'd like to have you. And I was looking at them like they were cross-eyed, like, wait, like, is that an invite? Like, huh? So
like, have you in respect, meaning like give you a key to the barn and we want you to move to Cookeville and be part of the stable of athletes?
I don't think that was even part of it.
Okay.
I think it was more of a, hey, we think you're a good dude. We think you'd be a good fit in Cookeville. Like, come along and like, let's see what happens. which is usually what happens to any athlete, whether they're top 10 in the world or top 100 in the world or 1,000. And I came and got to connect, and I jived really well with Rich and the crew, and like the rest is history kind of thing. So I just started working in with them and brought some good energy to the atmosphere. And I told Brian, because Brian was talking to me about coming, and I told him, I was like, look, man, like I'm kind of at the point where like I played college baseball. My dream was to be in the big leagues. That didn't work out. I've always like been, the guy, the leader in the weight room with all the sports teams I've played for, and like always the fittest, and always wanted to do something like CrossFit. My body's compared to other sports better for it. And I have some exposure to like triathlon type stuff, and I want to give it a try. I've been at Training Think Tank for a few years, and I think if I go and train with Rich and Haley for a little bit, like I'll know if, hey, I want to do this thing, or if I want to just hang up my nanos and find something else to do. So honestly, when I moved to Cookeville, that was kind of like the decision making for me of I'm going to give up CrossFit, or I'm going to like dive full in and attack this thing. And I won't lie, there was many times that last fall where I wanted to quit. And I was like, there's no way like my knees or my legs can do another squat. And we sure enough did like 6 more Metcons that day, and survived, and realized like this is where I feel like I'm called to be, and this is where I want to be. And I'm ready to go like full into this thing and attack it. So
what would you do if you didn't do this? Do you have a backup plan?
I would probably, so before I went on TV, I was helping my dad and my brother with their businesses. So my dad owns a business in California. My brother is juggling a few different businesses that he started. He's just trying to figure one out to like kind of focus on that one. So entrepreneurial mindset. So, I mean, there's maybe a few different business ideas I had of starting a business. It's kind of funny too. Before I went on TV, I actually did fill out my fire application to be a fireman. I don't see myself doing that. Ton of respect for those guys. My friend Angelo DeChico and Rich used to be a fireman in Cookeville. So I don't know. I would just probably help my brother out with his business and try to start my own business, just with the whole entrepreneurial spirit. But what would that be in? I don't know yet. I used to think I would never coach, and now I'm like, man, I could see myself coaching, and a lot of great coaches out there doing it all online and remotely now. So honestly, I don't know. It'd take me some time to really think about it, but definitely thinking about the future of what I want to do after CrossFit, right? Because you're not going to be an athlete forever. So kind of I'm looking at CrossFit and the relationships and the connections and the great, awesome people that I have met and that I know I'll meet in the CrossFit community is going to kind of be like a springboard to launch me into what I'm going to do in the future after CrossFit. Right now, I'm motivated and young. I feel like I'm really young in the sport because I've only done it for a few years, and I'm just ready to start being competitive in it, and then, figure out what I'm going to do after.
One of the things on the show that gives me so much anxiety is like at 24, I think that was maybe one of the first years that I was homeless. Speaking about freedom, man, it was fucking amazing. God damn, it was so good. And it kind of like the first time I was basically home. I was kind of like homeless because I chose to be homeless, and I was also homeless because like my parents were like, okay, enough of this shit. We paid for you to go to college. Like, I don't know. Was it 24, 25, 26, 27? Maybe I was a little bit older. But the thought of you getting married, when you go on the show and I see a 24-year-old guy, I'm like, and the thought of you getting married like gave me so much fucking anxiety. I'm like, why would he get married now? What's he gonna do? Like why?
Yeah.
That whole premise. And I know that there's a lot of people. I have a lot of friends through Instagram who are like 24, 25, 26, 27 years old. They already have kids and shit, and they're already like cops or firefighters. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, they got it all figured out.
Yeah, I'm like, what is going on?
Like that.
I mean, basically, yeah. I was homeless in my 20s. Then in my 30s, I moved back in with my mom. And then finally, I think when I was 34, I got kicked out. That was like the last time I got kicked out of my mom's house. And I just can't imagine. Yeah. And how old are you now? You're 26 now?
27.
27. Yeah, it's like too young. Like, just roll. I like what you're doing. You're just kind of like, you have your head down and you're working hard. Well, at least that's what it looks like from the outside.
Absolutely. 100%.
I don't like it on the show how well, I guess this is just a part of the show, but there's a power dynamic that's all fucked up.
Power dynamic. What do you mean?
She's always talking down to everyone, and no one can do anything about it because she like, I just feel like there's time like someone needs to be like, yo, bitch, shut the fuck up. Go run 200 burpees. Like, what the fuck are you doing talking to me like that? But no one can say that to her because she has all the power.
She holds all the power. And
so there's this and there's a dishonesty in that too. Like,
man, can I cut you off real quick?
I'm the fucking boss in my what? Go ahead.
I had no idea you were going to talk about the show this much.
Oh,
I thought you were going to bring it up for like 20 seconds and then like start talking about something else. But man,
I need therapy.
You're wearing
I need
it out
more
right
help
now.
than you after watching it now. I need more help than you after watching it.
I understand. I totally get it. I see that you actually watched the entire thing. Because this is how anyone acts after watching the entire thing.
So I'm the boss of my house. I fucking run the roost. I'm the man. I tell everyone what to do. I set up an arm wrestling table in my living room. My wife's like, looks at me. She's like, yo, get that fucking thing out of there. I was like, yes, ma'am. You know what I mean? Like, I'm the boss until I'm not the boss. And
yes.
I'm okay with like her being the boss, but like at some point, like for her own good, someone needs to tell her, hey, you can't have this arm wrestling table in the living room. Like you went too far. And no one can tell her that. And it makes for a very unhealthy environment. It makes for a very unhealthy environment.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't know what the fix is, but
I tried being that. I tried being like, hey, holding her accountable a little bit and being like, hey, you're saying you want this, and I don't think you should be doing that. And that's why like I got caught up in a lot more drama than I should have. Should have kept my mouth shut a lot more, but I spoke up.
The big theme, there's a big theme, and I heard you address it in a show that I think a podcast you did with these other two Christian cats, and I think your brother was on the show.
Okay.
And I think I saw you address it in another show, but where they were talking about how you lied to the guys in the house. And when Tiger Woods got caught by his wife sleeping around with all those women, what I wanted Tiger to, and then he made that Nike commercial where he apologized. I lost all respect for Tiger because I would have rather had Tiger said, what do you mean? What was I doing? There's very few things in life that are as fun as ejaculating, and women are so hot and there's so many of them. And I just did it. And like, I'm sorry I hurt my wife, but damn, dude, fucking is fun. I kind of wish you would have been like, of course I fucking lied to you. The goal here is just to get this chick. I don't fucking owe you shit. And now I'm not a proponent of lying, but like, it's so weird that anyone thinks that they can talk down to you. Like, everyone's talking down to you, her, the other guys. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't talk down to anybody. I don't even, I have 2 4-year-old kids and a 6-year-old, and I don't talk down to them. It's disgusting. It made me, look, see, like you're giving me therapy through the show. Do a lot of people do this to you?
Yes, actually. Actually, yes. Here.
I'm such a fanboy.
I'm walking you through this.
I'm such a fanboy.
I do have one question now.
Please.
What did you think of the rugby episode?
I liked it. They needed to the little side shot where you picked a guy up and throw him on the ground. They only showed it once, and I needed to see it like 100 times, and I needed to see it in slow-mo.
I only asked.
What?
I said I only asked because out of the entire season, like that was my best edit. They edited me to look like an NFL fullback. I was like, after watching some of those little like cuts, I was like, okay, I'll take that edit. That was interesting.
If you're going to do rugby or arm wrestling or anything, they're lucky. They did arm wrestling too, right?
Yeah.
They're lucky no one broke. That's stupid too. They're lucky no one snapped their arm off.
Yeah. One of the kids did. He didn't snap his arm off, but like it was gnarly. He was going and his elbow popped. Like you could hear like it's hard to explain, but his elbow literally popped and he had to leave, and Hannah was just babying him. And it was, like you said, I mean, arm wrestling's no joke. If you're actually going hard, like you can pop your elbow real quick.
Completely irresponsible. What did they think was going to happen?
They just gotta, like, they have to create drama. Like, they know what they're doing.
But someone's going to get hurt.
That's the point.
Man.
It was like the rugby thing. Like, there was a guy, actually, I was running with the ball. He was chasing me. No one touched him. He accidentally trips and falls, lands on his shoulder, thinks he dislocated it. And they're like, oh, we got to take you to the hospital. He's like, no, I'm fine. They're like, no, we got to go to the hospital. So, like, in the show, they edited, like, one of the, like, sneak peeks, an ambulance and this and all this hype of drama, right? Just giving you an idea of, like, you know how it is. They got to get the people on the edge of their seats, you know?
I don't think we really do know how it is. Like you know how it is, and even when they tell you that it's a fucked up edit, you know how it is. So yesterday I'm watching this video, and it's a video of they're making fun of Joe Biden, and God, I usually love those videos. But basically, he coughs into his hand, and then they show him shake a bunch of people's hands. But when he coughs into his hand, there's a quick edit. It's super quick. And so, like, and as an editor and a film guy, I'm like, well, you just ruined the whole thing for me now, because now I can't believe you.
Yeah, you can't, because you don't know what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that Joe Biden coughing into his hand last month? Yes.
Yeah, it could be 2 hours or 2 days before or after.
Yeah. What's your mom's pretty.
She's beautiful.
Yeah, she's very, very attractive. They should have spent more time with her on the show. What's your relationship with her like? What was growing up with your mom like?
It was actually incredible. So my mom and excuse me, my mom and dad were divorced when I was younger. I was about 3 years old, and which is very rare nowadays. But through a divorced marriage, my mom and dad got along very well. Yeah, I mean, they always. So I'm trying to think of how to explain this. So,
like, did you guys still do Christmas and Easter together?
Yeah, it was like when I was younger, it was kind of like that, right? 2 Christmases, 2 this, 2 that, and then. But it was always great, and sometimes they'd take turns, like holidays and stuff. But like, it was always great. It was always healthy, and we would just, my brother and I would go back and forth, and then we kind of just ended up, when we got older, stay with my dad. My mom traveled a lot. She was a professional photographer turned professional producer, and now she's in Boulder, Colorado. Actually, kind of flirting with helping CrossFit HQ out with some stuff. Shout out to my mom. She started CrossFit 6 months ago, and she's crushing it. Super proud of her. But yeah, so she's got a few different side hustles in Boulder. Has her own boutique shop on downtown the square, and is a producer as well. So, I mean, she's always been kind of like super fiery in her personality, and I think I got a lot of that from her, and just always down to just go do some crazy stuff, all about some adventure, super into fitness. Like right before I started CrossFit, to give you an example, she did a half Ironman with me in Waco, Texas. So like, she's super into cycling and running. She doesn't like swimming, but she's definitely into fitness. So
did you have hands-on parents? Were your mom and dad always kissing you and hugging you and holding you and pulling your ears? And like, did you have like, was it a super affectionate house?
Yeah, I'd say absolutely. My mom and my dad both, I'd say, like, physical touch is a huge love language for both of them. So yes, especially my mom. She met you, she would grab on you. You know what I mean? She's like, it's kind of like a Latin American culture. She's always about like hugging. She sees me, she's gonna kiss on me, kiss on my cheeks, you know.
And is she I don't want to miscategorize you, but is she is it okay to call you a Christian?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is she a Christian?
My mom believes there's a higher power. She believes in God, but she's not. I don't think she would consider herself a Christian. My dad and my dad's side of the family, they are. And I would describe that as like, they've accepted Jesus as their personal Lord and Savior, to like give you specifics. But sorry, go on.
And so when you talk about that stuff with her, is she open to it, or does she push back, or how does she say, hey, enough, Luke, I don't want to talk about that, or how is that?
No, she's very open to talking about that stuff, especially now that I'm older, and I think it's starting to make more sense to her. But no, those conversations, she loves to have them. It's interesting. Like, she tells me sometimes, like, she'll try praying and like talking to God. I know she believes in God, but she hasn't like made the decision to go all into it, kind of thing. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I love her, and I pray for her every day. So
in the show, one of the things that I found, one of the things I struggle with, just media in general these days, and the woke culture and everything, and especially with what happened to CrossFit when the fucking woke mob came after Greg, is they speak in these open generalizations that allow people to make interpretations. So I'll give you an example of where you did it. You tell a story in the beginning of The Bachelor or somewhere about how when you were younger, you had sex with a lot of women. And so, like, for some people, that's 3 women. But for me, like, a lot of women's like 800 women, right? And so it gets left open to generalization, like, just like everyone brings their own story to it. So when there were so many people who attacked Greg Glassman and left, or like anyone who uses the word misogynist, like when they use that, like I looked up the definition of that word, that means you hate women. That's fucking nuts. I've never met anyone in my life that hates women or men. Or I've never known that. I mean, that's just, but when you call someone that, it just leaves this huge open generalization, like,
for sure.
And in the show, there's so, like, to be honest with you, there's like 5 episodes where I don't even know what's going on, because everyone's like, so my heart feels this, or with the grace of God I feel that, or like, I don't know what the word God means, I don't know what grace means, I don't know what heart means. I sure as fuck don't have one of those. Like, I connected with my heart, and I'm like, fuck, I don't connected with your heart. What does that mean? Like, you held hands? And so, like, there's all these, and everyone's talking like that in the show. And then I sort of see the chaos of the show. I'm like, oh, every person who's watching the show is like basically making up their own interpretation to it.
Yep.
Right? Like, I want someone to say, Luke,
I'd
on a
agree.
1 to 10, how much do you like her? Like, that's what I need. Do you know what I mean? Hannah, on a 1 to 10, how close are you to Bone and Luke? I need, like, I can't like just be like, we have a strong connection. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, you guys are, your cell phone connection strong? Like, I just can't. There's these huge leaps of emotion, which I find intellectually just dumbing all the viewers down. Do you know what I mean? Like, none of us are watching the same show because we have to make up. There's so many blind spots.
I'd agree.
And that's how boys are at 24. Right? You're just a giant fucking ball of passion.
I'd also agree with that as well.
Do you still talk to her?
Hannah Brown, no. I've reached out to her a few times, sent her some long messages, and got no reply. So just hoping to run into her one day and be able to be at peace and talk to her about it. But for right now, I mean, we're good.
Someone wrote, skip this Bachelor stuff. I can't. Well, what do you want me to ask him? Let me skip this.
I like that comment. I like that guy or girl. Whoever said that, thank you. Should have said that 30 minutes ago.
Samuel Cornway said that
Sam
Rich
Cormier.
Froning. Yep. Samuel. I got to have him back
Samuel.
on just so I can say his name. Do you call him Sam? What do you call him?
I call him Sam. Man, he's a stud.
Yeah.
That's a good dude.
He said that Rich Froning's the fittest man alive. Is that true?
100%, without a doubt.
Do you just have to say that so that you can keep your keys to the barn?
No. Sorry, this whole entire time I got a tickle in my throat.
I do that.
But I will say this, like, this will be interesting in the comments, but I've seen and witnessed a lot of fit people. I've trained with a lot of fit people. Granted, it was right after the games, after an off season, but like, Medeiros came and stayed with me actually for a Mayhem camp earlier last year. I've been around Chandler Smith, Noah Olson, Travis Mayer for my first few years of training. Gotten to spend some time with Jacob Pepner in his barn in Kansas over the last few years, a few times. I'd like to say, especially in the CrossFit community, I've trained with the fittest people in the world. Granted, I can't say that about a lot of these other great athletes in the sport at the top of the sport in other countries. But then like in the last year, like diving into stuff day to day, like hearing the way he talks, seeing the way he trains, seeing the way his body handles things, seeing how quickly the man recovers, seeing how like as he gets older, even through surgeries after surgeries, like how the man gets fitter and better at pacing and better at programming. Like I've never seen anything like it, and I don't want to like blow smoke and talk too much about it, but like being in my shoes and experiencing what I've experienced, like it's not even a question. And like there's a lot of people that will talk who like don't know him and haven't been like have a personal relationship with him and seen him in action and seen some of the things he's done, like even in like little things like flag football, whether I've played church league softball with him, like I've done Army obstacle courses with him, like seeing the little things he's capable of and like seeing him in his domain, like in CrossFit workouts. Like, I mean, if he wants to turn it on and like prep for something, like he'll beat anyone on the planet. And I'm fully confident saying that.
Do you ever find needles in the bathroom at Mayhem? Like dirty needles in the bathroom?
No. There's something in the water though. And now that those bison are there, man, there's something in that bison meat, man. I'm telling you.
What would be the would there be repercussions if like do they tell you, hey, you have to be a clean athlete if you're a Mayhem athlete? Like, do they give you any talk on that?
No, I mean I've talked to some people about it, but I mean, I don't know. Like for the most part, at least in my shoes, like one of the main reasons I got connected with Mayhem was to help with Mayhem mission and connect like because of my faith and using it for something bigger than the sport, right? And those values and what's important to me, I mean, talk for themselves. So like that's just not an option for me. So I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if maybe that's something that should be happening. It might be happening with other people and other athletes, but I haven't had someone like approach me and be like, hey man, like, are you taking stuff? So, I mean, I think it's kind of just known that like, you know, I'm not going to cheat.
I would just, and I don't know what the protocol is either, but like, let's go to Training Think Tank. I would guess at some point Max would say to his athletes, hey, fuck nuts. Like no one better be doing anything illegal here because if you do, that shit's going to rain back down on all of us. Right. So let's say Joe Schmo pops at Think Tank, then fucking everyone looks like that they're a cheater. Right.
Yeah. I mean,
and that shit sucks. Not so much cheating. I'm not judging anyone for cheating, but just for the fact that like if you do something, then it kind of bleeds over on everyone else.
Yeah, I mean the whole organization, right?
Yeah,
absolutely. I mean you're right. That does suck.
Someone says the atmosphere at Mayhem is faith based, but not a requirement. Is that accurate?
100%. I mean, there's tons of people in and out of the barn, in and out of Mayhem, in and out of the whole organization. There's tons of people that even help with Mayhem mission that aren't even Christians, that just want to see like human trafficking stop overseas, that want to help give clean water, you know, to people that don't have it overseas. Like, I mean, definitely I'd agree with that statement.
Your Peru trip is awesome, by the way. You could not.
That was amazing.
It kind of screwed up my night last night because I didn't want to spend so much time on those posts. But man, dude.
Thank you, man. Come on, thank you. I appreciate that.
So cool.
Man,
there's a shot where you pan like from the river into like the home, and there's like a woman walking by carrying food, and then some kids over here, and I'm like, holy shit, this is like, it's like someone cut a village open and you let us see inside of it.
Yeah, it was cool. I appreciate that.
Would you ever go back there?
Yeah, I plan on it next year.
When there's a thing in there and it says that 20 people but by the way, going back to the Christians there, I am not a Christian, but every time that I've been around Rich and the guys, or that I've been over there at Mayhem, or I was at the games, or like I can remember being at the games and them praying and I'm filming and Rich just grabbed me and dragged me into the circle.
Come on.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Come on.
Oh my goodness. Nothing nothing sweeter than being welcomed into a prayer circle by Rich. It's such a good,
Love it.
yeah, it's such a good feeling. There's a thing in there where you say that you gave 20 people, you gave out like I think like 65 or 70 Bibles. I don't remember the exact number, Spanish Bibles.
Spanish
And then
Bibles.
20 people got salvation. What does that mean? 20 people got salvation.
Yeah. So I put in the post like we had 20 salvations. So like, I mean, like being a Christian, it's not this thing, right? It's not like, oh, I have this relationship with God and I have it for myself. Like it's pretty simple. Like we've all been born sinners, and Jesus bridged the gap. God sent his one only son, Jesus, to die on the cross for our sins and rose from the grave. And it's like, hey, like we're going to help. Like we brought a doctor to the Amazon jungle. We're talking to these people. We're giving them supplies. We're giving them Spanish Bibles. And it was pretty neat. Like we didn't just like give them these things and just leave them. We actually got to connect with in Iquitos, Peru, and people that visit the jungle pretty often. And we're talking about 4 hours on a boat just deep into the jungle. We got to connect them with Spanish speaking pastors and people that live there and people that are men of faith and women of faith there. And we gave them these Bibles. We got to sit down and talk with them about why we're there, got to talk about our faith, and got to share the gospel, which is the good news about Jesus. And when they accepted Jesus as their personal Lord and Savior, we got to sit down and talk with them and talk about like different ways they can read these Spanish Bibles together, do Bible studies together. And not to mention, like they loved all the little toys we got brought for their kids. And we brought these collapsible fishing poles, which was really neat because, man, it was wild. Like these dudes are out in the jungle making these spears out of like different trees and different, like literally sticks. They have cast nets. They have random string they find and like they put a hook on it and they just hold it. And like, that's how they catch fish. It's insane. I don't know how they catch fish out there. So we got to give them fake lures, like hook them up with these like legit fishing poles. And that's one example of many things like we hooked them up with. Pretty cool. Got to bring like a collapsible, like brought a chainsaw out there, some other stuff. But anyway, like.
Did you guys leave the chainsaw?
Absolutely. I mean, that's how they make stuff out there. It's insane. Like you give a chainsaw to a village and they could like give them a month. They'll double the size of their village. I mean, they'll like build a bunch of cool stuff and just provide for their family. Those dudes are, and I've been to some cool places in the world, like Haiti. It's amazing. Like when you don't have a whole lot, like the men and women there can do so much with so little when it comes to making things and building.
Wait, you said you've been to Haiti? Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You broke up. You went to Haiti also?
I have before, yes, sir.
With the Mayhem Mission also?
Oh no, this was like 5 years ago.
Okay.
This was a while back. No, this is way before Mayhem. But yeah, so
what does that mean when 20 people were saved? That means like you said to them, I've had this happen to me twice, I think. Once on the streets of London and one time in the United States somewhere. Someone comes up and says, "Hey, will you accept Jesus Christ as your savior?" You say, "Yeah." And then they read some shit out of the Bible and then I repeat it after them. And then it takes like 5 minutes or whatever. And then we hug and then we walk away. That?
Yeah.
You did that with 20 people there in Spanish, or the group did?
Yep. 100%. Yeah, it was neat. I mean, I got to speak one time through a translator. Me and one of my co-missionaries, I guess you would call them. Yeah, and I mean, it's not that simple, like on a street corner. Like, it was pretty neat. Like, we go there, we spend time with them.
Don't talk down my street corner experience. It was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
For sure. No, I mean, like, we spent hours, I'm saying. Like, we got to play with the kids, gain the respect, like, do life with them, teach them about fishing, and do all these things with them, bring our doctor in front of them, and kind of, help them out with some medicine and stuff. And then, started talking about why we're there. And just kind of, like, having purpose conversations, like talking about purpose of life and what we believe in, and then kind of like lead into it kind of like that. So it wasn't kind of like, here's 20 seconds, here's this, pray this,
right,
and you're good to go kind of thing. But yeah, we prayed with them. It was good.
Did you train at all when you were there?
I did because before we made our way to the Amazon jungle, we were in a city called Iquitos, and it was kind of neat. Brian had set up this thing where I actually got to do kind of like a train with Rich, but it was a train with Luke, and it was in Iquitos, Peru, and it was pretty much like a training camp all day. We just got to talk about man mission, do fitness with these people, and got to hammer these people, put them through the ringer, so to speak. Right? We did like 5 mechons, and it was kind of neat. The Peru's fittest man and I got to go head to head in the workout, and that was neat. Like the people there were loving it. Like they were just like super hyped up, and it was just really good. So I mean, it was a good time.
Dude, that's awesome. Who won in that comp? You and Peru's fittest man.
I did. It was good though. I mean,
did you feel bad?
Kind of. I did because man.
Yeah, I get it.
These Peruvians were the nicest people. They were so cool, and they got so animated when it came to cheering for him, and they were cheering for me too. They weren't like just stone cold me, but I mean, it was cool. It was a good experience.
You're gonna be at the Rogue Invitational, and your friends and are going to be doing this competition. Is it hard for you to watch? Or are you like, oh man, I need to be invited to this? Like, this is like,
definitely makes me hungry and makes me want to put in the work to receive an invite. I think it's so prestigious and so cool to receive an invite to the Rogue Invitational. I mean, it's pretty much the top 20 world's fittest men and women. So that's a big deal. And then obviously this whole cryptocurrency thing. I mean, come on, man. Have you seen the prize purses for some of these competitions this part of the year? It's insane.
Nuts.
Like that makes you push and crank into a whole nother gear, even if you're not in game shape or whatever time of the year it is, you know, like you're going to pull it out of you.
Do you know how cryptocurrency works? Like, do you understand it?
Kind of, not really. I mean, a little bit.
I'm not said kind of, not really. Mine is not really kind of.
I mean, I know it's kind of, I mean, go ahead. What were you going to ask me?
Nothing. So we don't know. So we don't know what it is.
Yeah, we don't know. I know this though, which is pretty neat. Like when they get that money, like they don't have to pay taxes on it, which is pretty neat.
Wait, why not? You don't?
No, which is pretty cool because it's just kind of like its own currency, right? It just floats. I mean, they do make, like, you could go pull cash out. They make these, is it called? Bitcoin.
Well, that shit's never going to last. The government's going to shut that shit down then.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
That's like, I had no idea it worked like that.
Yeah, they make these ATMs too, like, and just pull cash out. It's kind of like, I mean, it's kind of like Venmo, right? It just floats. You can just transfer back and forth to people to each other's account. But if you pull it out of your, like, if you put the money in your bank account and pull it out of your bank account, then yeah, you have to pay taxes on it.
So there's an ATM machine somewhere, and you can have like a crypto ATM card and pull cash out based on your crypto wallet. That exists? You broke up a little bit. Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm not into it yet. I know I got some buddies. Even my brother just started getting into it a little bit a few weeks ago, but yeah, I'm not too educated on it. So I don't want to really.
I'm scared of it.
Talk
it
like
looks
I know
like
a whole lot
gambling
about
to
it.
me. Gambling scares me.
Right? Yeah, gambling is just scary because you go broke quick.
Have you ever gambled?
I have one time. Well, a few times with my buddies, but like one time actually, I guess twice. One major trip. One of my buddies he's a special forces ranger in the Army. It was his bachelor party. It was the one and only time I've ever been to Las Vegas. We went boys trip to Caesar's Palace and we tore up the blackjack tables together.
And how much money did you lose?
I'd like not to talk about it.
I was in Lake Tahoe once, and I took.
It paid for the fun I had. How about that?
It did. Oh, so you won money.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like this, right? Like you win, you lose, you win, you lose. You're like you lose some more. You're like, oh, here we go. But then you keep going and you win, and it's like you just need to stop. I think it pays for itself having fun, but at the same time, like I don't believe in that. I don't think it's smart. Like we all went with this idea of like, hey, we're only gonna like if we reach this point of spending this much money, like we're definitely stopping. Like we're just here to have a good time. Like for our boy, he's getting married. Like we're not here to lose money. So we all held each other accountable and had a good time. Like we were playing like at the lowest bidding tables, you know what I mean? Where it costs like $5 or like $15 to bet. Like nothing crazy.
I lost $60 in 20 minutes at a blackjack table once, and that was my only gambling. And
20 minutes?
Maybe 5 minutes.
I'm about to say, man, because you can lose hundreds of dollars in seconds.
Yeah, I sat down, I ordered a drink, I lost $60, and I'm like, I'm never. And I felt
doing this again.
It was probably the most dirtiest I've ever felt in my life. I felt horrible.
Yeah.
You snatched 300 pounds, and in the video, it looks like it's in a competition. Can you explain that to me or tell me that story?
Are you talking about with the Army or at this recent local comp that I did?
Whenever the first time. Well, I'm really curious. Just the first. It was on your Instagram, and it was the first time you ever snatched 300 pounds.
Okay, yeah. So that was actually really interesting. So at the MAC, this is a cool story. At the MAC, I wanted to open up way higher. It's the first event. You get 3 attempts, and I don't remember what I opened up with, but long story short, I hit 280 and then I went for 295. And Rich looks at me and goes, right before the event, he grabs me and goes, whatever you do not put on 295. If you're going to go for it, go for 300. Sure enough, I go up, I throw 295 behind my head and miss it, right? Don't have enough time to go pick it up again, right? It's one lift. And I felt like I could have hit 300. I felt really good, felt really strong. I just threw it behind me. Anyway, speed up to the CrossFit Games. I don't qualify. Train as if I did qualify with everybody.
Why didn't you listen to him? If he told you to put 300 on and you only put 295, what does he say anything to you? Sorry to interrupt your story. Does he say, "Yo, what the fuck?" Slap you around a little bit?
100%. He's like, "Dude, you idiot! What are you doing?" And I was like, "Man, I don't know what I was thinking." I literally put on 300, and I'm like, I look up in the crowd to see if anyone's there, like for Jake Lockard or Tasia or someone, like to give me some guidance. And I take the 2.5s off. I don't know why. I wasn't confident about it enough in the moment. I don't know why, because I felt so strong. Because in the barn, we don't, like, it's tough, man. Like doing a lot of volume, it's tough to lift heavy. Like we go based off RPE, rate of perceived exertion. So like we don't hit a lot of the highest percentages because we can't. But then when we taper, it's like, you know, you feel like you're Superman. You can lift the world, right? So yeah, I had to live that up, and that was a huge lesson learned. Like, definitely be more confident, because I wasn't used to that kind of training yet. I'm still trying to survive my first season there, right? Like getting just beaten down. I get beaten down for training, like hardcore, and then we do games. I'm there spectating, there to help and support everybody for Mayhem Freedom, all the individual athletes that we had supporting. We had a ton, and I had scheduled to do, because we have a really good relationship with the Army Warrior fitness team. So they had this Army Warrior bus, and I'm going head to head with Jacob Pfaff. He's one of their really good athletes. He and I were supposed to do like a power hour. We did like 5 events against each other, but ended up taking 2 events in an hour. So we did like a max 500-meter row against each other. I beat him by like a half a second. And then I think we're supposed to do another one. And we're like, all right, let's just max snatch. His max snatch, I think, is 315. And my time was like 285 was my max. We just kept going up 10 pounds as if it was the games, sharing the same barbell. And then ended up hitting 295, which was a PR. And then we only had 10-pound plates. So he's like, all right, well, we're putting on 305. So I hit that. Huge PR for me. That was massive for me. And then he hits it. And then it was pretty interesting. We only had 10-pound plates, so we go for 315. And I pulled it up, and I was just like, this is not happening right now. Feels infinitely heavier. And then he actually missed it. And then we did the 225 for 3 against each other and hop over the bar to see who wins as like the tiebreaker, like they did it in the event. And he got me. So he got me by a few seconds. But it was good. I mean, it was a massive PR for me. And I guess the moral of the story is like tapering down before an event. I think it was a good learning experience for me to be more confident with how my body feels, because especially when the adrenaline's going, right, and you're at the CrossFit Games or a semifinal, like you're in a huge stadium full of fans, your family, your friends watching, like the adrenaline's going to be flowing. But just to be more confident of hitting weights that, like might be a PR for you.
The takeaway for me is early on in the story, the fact that you hang out with people that believe in you. And that Rich Froning telling you to put 300 pounds on, that ties back to what we were saying about before about why I'm canceled. And it's because, I'm going to say it. I'm like Rich. I fucking believe in people. I fucking believe in people. I believe that people are amazing and can do amazing stuff. Man, you found your home.
Definitely.
It's crazy. You found your home. Are you just loving life right now?
Absolutely. 100%.
Is there anything you're looking for or trying to add? Like, are you looking for, like, do you have plans? Do you have a goal? Like, are you wanting more money or a house or a wife or a dog or like?
Absolutely. All those things. I mean, right.
I was hoping you'd be like, no, fuck it. I'm just in the moment, just grinding.
No, I mean, right now it's like you said, I'm in the trenches right now. I'm putting in work. I'm enjoying myself. I'm single, so I don't have a whole lot of distractions. It's not like I have kids right now or I have a wife. I'd like one in the future, but right now I'm just growing as a man, growing in this CrossFit community, figuring it out and grinding, having the time of my life. So being a part of this Mayhem family is definitely special. So I'm enjoying it.
Are you guys pretty isolated in the Mayhem family? Like, by that I mean, do you see like is it like going to school? Like, basically you see the same 20 people every day? Like, you see Hillary when you pull up, you see the kids, you see Rich, you see Guy, you see Haley, you see Tasia.
Yeah, that happens, but you'd be surprised. Like, there's a lot more people than you'd think in the Mayhem community and locally, like tons of people. And not to mention, we have tons of people coming in and out of town. And like Rory might be hanging out with us one day. He might be with his family another day. He might be out of town one day. So, I mean, it's definitely like the circle definitely rotates, but it's not like, how do I explain it? Like you said, like school, like, oh, I got to show up to homeroom or first period. Here's the same people every day. It's not, I mean, it doesn't get old and boring like that.
Do you like Cookville?
I love it. I mean, I got some friends that hate on me. They're like, why do you love it, man? There's nothing there. I'm like, dude, come on. They're like, oh, what? You got a Chipotle in your town? I'm like, come on, man. Like, we actually got some restaurants. Like, we got a cool little downtown square. There's some tradition there. It's country. We only have Nashville and Knoxville and these huge, really big, cool towns. Like, cities not too far from us, about an hour away. And like, I don't know. I love it. I mean, Tennessee Tech's there, so it's a college town. So there's more people there than you'd think. Yeah, I mean, I enjoy it. I love it. It's definitely, if you want it to be loud, it can be. But if you want some peace and quiet, there's a ton of that. I mean, it is the country. So
could you see yourself settling down there?
I don't know. Definitely, I can see it, but we'll see. I mean, I'm sure
You're open.
when I'm done. Yeah, I'm open. I mean, I'm sure like when I meet a significant other, I'm sure I'll end up moving somewhere. But I can definitely see myself settling down in Cookville. I don't know. We'll see. Hey man, I'm in the moment right now. I'm not really looking to move, if that's what you're asking.
How do you decide whether you're going to shave your beard or not?
Dang, that's that's $1 million question right there.
Because you kind of did the show where you came back, you were completely shaved, like where they sat you down in the room with all.
Oh, you're
these
talking about on
idiots.
TV.
Yeah. No, but just in general, like, how do you decide?
Okay.
Like, how did you decide this morning not to shave? How did you decide that day not to shave? Like, it's such a different look for you. Like, basically, mine is just out of comfort, like laziness. How do you decide? Like, are you just growing your beard because just shaving's a pain?
So I like to have it like, I'm kind of seasonal. So I like to grow my beard longer when it gets colder. So this is actually pretty long for me, and I will definitely get a little something. But if I feel like shaving, I might shave. Right from here, from Austin, Texas, I'm going to compete in this desert heat competition in Dubai. And I looked at the weather and it's like 90 degrees the whole time and we're in the desert. So there might be a chance I shave the whole thing off, or I might leave it because I know when I get back to Cookville, it's going to, like, we're going to have a cold snap and it's going to be cold and all the leaves on the trees are going to be gone, which I'm pretty salty about because I'm going to miss the beautiful orange and yellow fall leaves. Anyway, so yeah, I'm like seasonal about it. In the summer, when I shave, when it gets long, instead of trimming it and leaving a little scruff, I'll shave completely. And then when it grows a little longer, I'll shave completely. But fall, spring, winter, I grow it out a little longer. And then sometimes every now and then I feel like looking like a mountain man.
And how about the rest of your body? How about your chest and your back and do you shave your legs?
Thanks, Dad. I'm a hairy dude. I'm a hairy dude. I used to be so clean, and then now I'm like, man, I got like chest hair coming out of my shirt sometimes.
Wait till your back hair connects with your neck.
Dude, it hasn't connected yet, but I got some gnarly back hair. Yeah, I need some like laser hair removal on my back. But I keep the chest. It's kind of the same rotation as my face. Like, it gets long, I trim it, and then keep doing the cycle over and over. So not big like
the one blade.
Like, guy.
Do you use the one blade?
I don't know.
Like
what
that $20
is.
razor. It's electric. It's cordless. Rich told me he uses it. I use it too. It's tiny. It just has you just change the blade whenever it starts pulling hair.
Yeah.
What do you use an electric razor what do you shave your chest with?
So I actually trim my face and trim my chest with the same trimmer. It's still use a cord. They make cordless ones, but I don't think they're as good. It's called the Peanut. I think it's the best trimmer there is out there. It's like super industrial. Like it's strong. It never goes out on me. It's tough. So I've been using that sucker for like 6 years.
Would you cut? I have a friend who cuts his own hair, and he's been bragging about his Peanut. Would you
hair?
Cut? Yeah.
Say that again.
Yeah, I have a friend who cuts his head with the Peanut, and he's
That's
always
crazy.
Yeah. So you don't cut your own hair?
No. I like getting a fade. You kind of see. I can't do that to myself. I'm sure I could figure it out, but it'd take me a couple of years of looking jacked up. So I'm good. Keep going to the barber.
How much do you pay for your haircut?
It all depends. I want to say like 20 is how much it costs. It all depends on what I'm doing. Did my barber etch out extra time to fit me in the schedule? Is there a holiday coming up? I really enjoy taking care of the people I build relationships with. So it really depends on how generous I'm feeling in the moment, because I like to give some good tips, especially my barber. So
yeah, I go to Supercuts. I think it's like $20. And if he or she is just like even a little bit nice to me,
yeah,
$10. Is that cheap, or do you think that's good?
No, I think it's good.
Yeah, then it ends up being a $30 cut. If it's a $20 cut and I give you $10 tip, that seems, I feel like a baller.
Yeah, for sure. Man, have you been I've been to some barbers like randomly in big cities. Like I went to Denver one time because my mom was in Boulder, and I was like, hit up some barber on Instagram who was supposed to be good. And it was like $70, like $60 for the cut. And I tipped him 10 because I usually tip 10 or more. And I was like, hold up. You took an hour. Most people I do back at home are like quick. They could take 15 minutes, 30 minutes. And I'm like, you didn't even do that good of a job. You gave me a fade. You didn't touch the top much. And you charged me $60. Like, come on.
When I had a job, I did all that stupid shit. I used to spend so much money on haircuts. I went to fancy coffee shops. I did all that shit. Now I'm just don't have a job, and fuck it. Hey, someone said, what about your eyebrows? How about dem eyebrows? Do you do anything with your eyebrows?
Every now and then when they get long, I'll go to the barber and be like, yo, can you trim these? And then I do pluck my unibrow, because if I don't, I have like little tweezers. If I don't pluck it, this would be like this all the way across.
I don't even have eyebrows. Hey, if you had a girlfriend, would that be something she would do? Pluck your unibrow?
I don't know. I'd rather have her do something like pop a pimple on my back or something I can't reach, If there's something back there I can't reach,
I'm gonna tell you something. It's like really the only shortcoming in my relationship. My wife has none of those skills.
What skills?
Like if I'm like, hey, can you check my back for blackheads? She can't.
She's like, no.
She doesn't know how.
Oh,
She just doesn't. But she's just like she can't squat below parallel. You know what I mean? I mean, she can, but you know, like motherfucker, like you're a girl.
you gotta
Like,
show
that's
her, man.
I married a woman who can't pop up. Dude, like
You gotta show her.
I've shown
Come
her.
on.
I've shown her.
No, you gotta like get someone else. Get one of your friends. Be like, all right, see the back? There's a blackhead. This is what you do.
Yeah.
Come on, man. You gotta show her, man.
Okay. I'll try again. I mean, by now I've reached that point where I don't really have blackheads or pimples anymore, but we've
That's
been together
good.
for so long.
Good for you.
Oh no, let me tell you something. Blackhead popping is, I love that shit.
It's fun, isn't it?
Oh my God. It's like just like a boulder comes out of your skin. It's
Yeah,
like clean
like
and
speed.
it's just like a little rock. And
You're like, get that out of me.
Kimberly says, oh my God, my wifely duty is popping my husband's blackheads on his back and videotaping it. Yeah. I mean, it's like
Videotaping it. That might be a little extra, but I enjoy it.
Wad Zombie says, I bet there's people online that would buy his plucked hairs. Dean Phillips, the conversation has gone off the rails. Dr. Pimple Popper.
There's some good comments.
What was how did you get the blue check mark?
That's another interesting conversation. So there's I don't know, you would, I don't know the job description would be, but I want to say like there's some ABC people involved with The Bachelor and Bachelorette that know or are like super close with some of the people that work for Instagram. So as soon as some of these dudes get off, they're just like, hey, get this guy a check, get this guy a check, get this guy a check. I mean, you know how Instagram works, like, or I don't know if you do, but you have a check, don't you? Yep. All you do is go in and ask for it. And if you're someone that, I don't know, has status, whether you're a professional athlete, like you've been on, like, I don't know, people need to know it's the real you, right? Because there might be fake accounts. Then they'll give you the blue tick. But I actually wasn't on the best terms with ABC's people behind the scenes when I got off the show. So they didn't hook me up. I actually had to go, can't remember who I got connected with. I got connected with someone at the 2019 CrossFit Games when I was spectating. I was in like the Fit Aid VIP booth where they're doing podcasts and stuff. I got to meet some really cool people. Like Marcus Philly and like a couple other people that were just kind of in the community and connect.
By the way, that dude really is cool. That's not just throwing around loose words. That's a cool.
Yeah, that dude's a stud. But yeah, there's someone I met and connected with who was like, hey, here's a contact info. It might have been Jacob Hepner. I can't remember. And it was like, all you got to do is call this lady. And I did have to pay like a couple $100, and then she hooked me up, gave the IG people a call, and then I got a blue tick. So it was a little bit of a process. That was a while back.
It's funny. That's kind of how I thought the story would go, but not exactly like that. I thought for sure that the second you made it on The Bachelor, it's called The Bachelorette, not The Bachelorette. No, The Bachelorette. The second, because she's the Bachelor. Okay, yeah. I would have figured the second you made it on The Bachelorette that they would have done that. I think that's how it is. I need to get confirmation of this. I'm going to have a UFC fighter on Friday. I always forget to ask. But I think that as soon as you get a contract with the UFC, they have someone there who's like, knows someone on Instagram. And they're like, okay, this guy's a professional fighter. Give him the blue check mark. And so that's interesting. So tell me about your relationship with those people behind the scenes. I heard you say in one of the interviews that they asked you to do the comeback show, like where like you guys all go on an island and like show off your bodies and shit and get drunk. And
yeah. Precisely. Actually, great description. It's called Bachelor in Paradise.
Yeah. Part of me thinks, wouldn't it be fun there to just go there and just fuck around? You know what I mean?
Yeah, actually, at the time, I was like, no, I need to focus on my CrossFit training. But yeah, right. Looking back, I'm like, man, I could go on the beach. They were actually going to pay me.
Those people will take you whenever, just so you know. Like when I heard them begging you the story of them begging you to come on, and they had like
trust me. Sorry, go on.
They need you. They like you were the gift that kept giving. Like they want you so bad. How are the ratings for that show, the season you were on?
I do know that my season had the best ratings of the history of the show. Not trying to say that like boastfully, but
No, you should say it boastfully.
I've been told that. Not the most proud of that since technically I was the season's villain, but you know.
Do you
And
remember being
man, there's a ton more I could tell you, but I'm still technically under contract, so there's a lot. I don't know if you've been able to tell, but a lot of these questions, I'm not like dodging them, but I'm just being very careful what I say. So,
understood. How long are you under contract?
I hate to say this as well, but for the rest of my life.
Excuse you must have broke up for a second. I thought you said the rest of your life. That couldn't be possibly true.
No, it is.
So basically, there's something you signed that says, hey, you won't say this or this or this. It's proprietary secret of the show, and you're not allowed to talk about it.
Unfortunately, I had to sign that. Yes.
Okay. And someone told me that you got sued because you already said something.
I got threatened to sue. I can't remember how much it was. It was like $100,000. That was interesting. Pretty much, they reached out to me. I didn't know it because I had changed addresses, and they sent me a bunch of mail, like different podcasts I was on. Because right after the show, I was pretty livid and upset, to say the least, and disappointed with how they treated me. And I went on a bunch of podcasts and said everything, spilled all the tea. And a lot of these podcasts are still out there. So, cough, cough. They sent me a notice, and each time I breach contract, technically they can sue me $25,000 according to the contract. And I breached contract. I don't want to say how many times, but they recorded only 4, but it was, it was a lot. And pretty much they're like, hey, keep your mouth shut. So I'm not technically supposed to say anything about behind the scenes.
I wonder if the show went under, if the contract would be null and void. How about the people who work there? How bad they must feel. Like the makeup lady. So. Like there's a makeup lady there, I'm sure, who like you built a relationship with. She knows who you really are, and then they see them.
Oh yeah.
She sees them doing you dirty, and she's torn.
Guys.
What?
I met some camera guys that. I mean, you gotta know there's like 10 dudes holding these cameras, and they're like running around. Sometimes if I'm like leaving a scene, like they'll just chase me right with these cameras.
Yeah.
And there's a few guys I've built some relationships with, and they were cool to me, and we got to talk different times. There's a lot of sit around and wait time, right? So I got to connect with them, and like, yeah, a few of them later in the season were like, talk to me. They're like, man, I'm so sorry. You got to go through this, bro. Like this, and that. And I'm like, thanks. But yeah.
Hey, are you also obligated to finish the show? Like, are people obligated? Can you just like walk off the show, or is there a fine for that also? Is it like, hey, we'll fine you $25,000 because you've committed to the show? Or
I mean, they give you rules, and like they have a lot of people there to make sure you don't break them. So I would give you some more info. I would give you some more juicy info, but I can't, man. Sorry.
I understand. No, I'm not tripping. Does everyone actually live in that house?
So for the first 3 weeks, yeah, there was like 20 plus dudes in the same mansion. It was legit in LA. Honestly, we're broing out, having a ton of fun. And then we started traveling. So we traveled once in the US. It was to like Boston area. And then we went to Scotland, Latvia, and then Greece. No. Then Holland. So like Amsterdam, and then Greece.
And you guys share rooms?
Yes, everyone shared a room except for me. They isolated me.
From the get-go?
Well, when we started traveling, we're already a month in. So
No, but I mean in the main mansion. From the very beginning, from the day one, you were
No.
Oh.
I had a bunk with I'm in a room with like 6 dudes.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Luke.
But yeah, it was
Parker.
actually kind of cool though. They put me in like I was in some pretty sweet like suites when we were overseas in some of these other countries. I mean, it was neat. Like, I mean, I was in Crete, island in the Mediterranean, and it was pretty neat. Like my balcony had like my own private pool and like chairs to lay out on. It was beautiful. I mean, I'd say Greece was one of the most beautiful places I've ever been.
I think you should go to that Bachelorette Island thing, and
Bachelor in Paradise.
yeah, and I think you should like fuck one of the producers. I know it's not your style, but it would really throw a fucking whole kink in the thing. Do you know what I mean?
Oh man, you sound like
Just start fishing
90%
way
of-
outside
You
the
sound like
pond.
90% of my friends when they talk about this crazy show.
Yeah,
They're
just
like,
start
you need to
fishing
do
like
it, bro. You got to go back. You got to do this. You got to do that.
yeah, like
Yeah.
all the people who think like they're above this or we're manipulating them. I mean, I'm telling you, they're susceptible to your stardom and your body and your hot looks as much as anyone. They think they're above it. You should just go back there and start just fucking just really fish out of the pond. Like be it's like think of like just fish out of the pond.
I got to admit, man, I've absolutely wiped my hands of
You're a
anything to
good
do with them.
dude. Good.
Well,
You're a smart man.
I would probably
vile.
do reality. I would probably do reality TV again if it was something totally different. Like I had, for example, I had the Titan Games actually reach out to me, and I did an interview,
that's cool.
the show with The Rock, and
That's cool.
I ended up not making it. I did like a couple of FaceTime interviews. If it was something like that, like actual challenges, like I've also had MTV The Challenge reach out to me, but they have a lot of drama behind the scenes. It's similar to The Bachelorette. So I was like, nah, I don't want anything to do with that. But as far as doing like physical activities and challenges, like, shoot, if there's a chance to make some money and go on TV and do something really cool, I'll do it. Like the Titan Games, I thought would have been legit. Like I wanted to meet The Rock, but like I said, it didn't work out.
Do you do
But The
dating
Bachelor,
apps?
I'm out of that. No, I'm not. I've been told. I have a lot of friends, my sister-in-law being one of the main ones, who signed me up for the show to begin with. Has tried to like encourage me to do online dating or dating apps, and I haven't ever once tried it, and I don't think I ever will, to be honest with you, man.
I think
I have nothing
it's
against
horrible. I think it's
it. I have
horrible.
nothing against it, but
I do. I think it's horrible. I think it's fucked up. I think if you're I'm old though. I'm getting old. I'm starting to say stuff like old people. It's fucking crazy. Do you know how weird it is to
some of these new apps are actually pretty legit. Like,
yeah?
I've had some people try to show me and talk to me about it. And obviously, right, you hear all the success stories, right? Friends or even family that like made it work. But I don't know. For me, it's like, I don't know. I get it.
I was sleeping in the back of my pickup truck.
But
I was sleeping in the back of my pickup truck and I saw my wife walking down the street. We were like in college or something.
that's a cool
I'm
story.
fucking like looking out the window of my pickup truck and this hot chick with this great body's like walking towards me from like 200 yards, fucking dusting myself off, fucking getting my fucking wiping this probably something off my mouth, like a cookie I ate or something, trying to get the marijuana smoke out of my back of my truck. And I jump out. I'm like, hey girl, what's up? And I just start talking to her. like,
just like that.
Like, why not just be on aisle 6 at Safeway and be like, yo, damn, you're hot. Like, can we go out? Like, what if we like each other? Like, just old school.
I'm all about that, honestly.
Yeah. Like, who do you remember your very first crush? Like in second grade or first grade or third grade? Do you remember the very first?
Yeah.
What was her name?
Oh my goodness. There's no way she sees this podcast, but she actually, so I'm trying to think. I think you're right. I think it was like kindergarten through, preschool through, no, it was kindergarten through like third grade. She actually lived not directly across the street from me, but like one house over across the street. When I grew up, and there was like 4 houses that were really close to me. And when we were young kids, like after school, we'd all get dropped off in the same bus stop, and we'd all like play catch with the football, play tag, hang out, and talk. And I had a huge crush on her. She was like my neighbor. Her name was Emma.
Do you remember her last name?
Emma Baxley.
Are you still in touch with her?
No.
Mine
This
was
is
this.
hilarious.
Mine was this girl named Michelle Harper. It's funny. I haven't thought about her in fucking 30 years.
Where's
She
this
was actually,
question
did
coming
Emma
from?
ever become your girlfriend?
I like to think she was my wife at the time, but no, she was never my girlfriend.
That's awesome. And did you like her? Why do you know why you liked her?
That was a long time ago, man. I was attracted to her. I thought she was cool. I enjoyed hanging out with her. There you go.
She had long. Did she have? She had nice hair.
I don't remember.
Well, Michelle Harper just had
brown
really
hair.
nice hair and a really big smile, and it was like, and she was nice to me, and I was like, all right, that checks all the boxes. Life
Yep.
is simple, and I didn't like, and you know, when you're like that, it's like you don't want to do anything with a girl, like you just like her. You don't even know what the fuck that means. You just like her, like, hey, like, right? I mean, you're not like no one, like you're not even thinking about kissing her or holding her hand. You're just like, well, can I just stand close to you? Right?
Yeah, you want to be close to them, honestly.
Yeah.
You don't care if you're playing cards or you're not even talking to each other.
It's like if you got to sit next to her on the bus, you're like, holy fuck, I won the lotto.
Yes, I felt that.
Oh God, life was easy. Someone is right. Ellie is live. Sorry, Sevan. Luke gotta go. Are you about to do a show with Ellie?
I don't know what that means.
Ellie's the blonde-haired girl who trains at the gym too. She used to be on the team.
She might be doing like we have a program through our Sugar Wad Mayhem Athlete app called M30, minimal equipment, should only take 30 minutes. That's why it's called the M30 program. She might be live on that right now, maybe in like the hotel fitness room.
Someone
She does a
put
good job at that. She goes lives in like our private Facebook group. She's live all the time doing those workouts, which is really neat. I mean, that program's legit. That's what I'd be doing if I wasn't doing competitive CrossFit. Anyway,
someone put a
that's
link
the
in
only
the
thing I can
comments
think
so
of.
I can click it and look at it. Sorry, say that again, Luke.
That's the only thing I can think of that comment could be talking about. I don't know, but I don't have to be anywhere to answer your question.
Do you have? I was supposed to be driving my kids 6 minutes ago. This is my last question I'm asking. Hey, will you come on again if I let
Perfect.
you go?
Yeah, if you'd like me, for sure.
Yeah. We have unfinished business.
Okay.
Do you
I'll
have
be in
any
Dubai
plan?
next week.
Oh shit! Let's
Sure.
do it from Dubai.
Okay.
That would be dope. Do you have any plans? Like we know you're not going on that Bachelorette show. We know that you're training. You're trying to get you're thinking about doing team. Like, do you have any other plans? Like, are you like getting a day job or like? Do you have, or is your life pretty just like you're looking down right now, just grinding?
Definitely looking down grinding, but like obviously there's tons of ideas I have when it comes to vision, right? What do I want to do with my life in the future? Kind of like one of the first few questions you asked me, I was trying to tell you, right? Like, I'm not going to have CrossFit forever. It's just going to be a springboard into whatever I do through the connections, relationships I build in the CrossFit community. There's so many opportunities, so much opportunity through all the, like I said, connections and relationships I have. So definitely for me, I want to start my own business. What does that look like? I don't know yet. Maybe partner in starting a business with someone in the community. Definitely, like I said, my dad's an entrepreneur, my brother's an entrepreneur. Like I'm a family guy, so I'll probably end up doing some kind of side hustle with them as well, or all in with them as well in the future. I don't know yet, but definitely thinking about that every day. That not just totally sitting on my hands and doing nothing but metcons, but pretty much just eating and sleeping and training, repeating.
I don't want to give anyone bad advice, but it seems like your life is already just unfolds before you, and all you have to do is be a good person and work hard. And that seems like that's what you've been doing, and you've had an amazing life unfold in front of you with some really, really fun, cool shit and exciting shit. And so,
well said.
Take all those thoughts with a grain of sand. Like I I was just a good person, and I just put my head down and had an incredible work ethic. And now I'm at 39, or no, how old am I? I'm 49. I'm like, I'm in dreamland. So
that's a good nugget for the listeners to take. I mean, like you said, be a good person, put your head down, work hard.
And by being a good person, I mean, just treat people
yourself
the way you'd want to be treated. If
Exactly.
someone cuts you off, don't flip. I mean, I know you want to flip them off. I want to flip them off too, but just roll down your window and give them the peace sign. Like, they didn't really want to do it. Like, no one wants to cut anyone off. Like, just treat people the way you want to be treated. All right, brother. Peace. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, brother. I appreciate it.